In a land torn by war, where men fought at the front lines, there were women whose courage changed the fate of a nation. This is the story of those who are often forgotten, the unsung heroines of the Turkish War of Independence. Their names may not fill every history book, but their spirits are woven into the very fabric of modern Turkey. In the early 20th century, as the ashes of the Ottoman Empire settled, foreign powers carved up Anatolia. Cities were occupied, hope was dwindling, and the future seemed bleak. But in the face of despair, a fire of resistance was kindled, a determination to forge a new destiny from the ruins of the old. This was the Turkish War of Independence, a struggle for sovereignty, for identity, for a home. And as empires collapsed, hope flickered in the hearts of those who refused to surrender, including the women who would become silent soldiers. They were not just witnesses to history, they were its architects. While the world saw armies of men marching to the front, another army was mobilizing in the shadows, an army of mothers, daughters, and sisters. Their weapons were not always guns and cannons, but resilience, intelligence, and an unbreakable will. In every village and city, women organized, they strategized, and they prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice for their homeland. This was a war fought on multiple fronts, and many of the most critical battles were won far from the trenches, in the hearts and minds of the people. And it was here that the women of Anatolia proved to be the nation's unyielding backbone. Among these extraordinary figures was Halide Edib Adıvar, a writer, an educator, and a revolutionary. She was a voice of reason in an age of chaos, a beacon of intellect in a storm of conflict. Before the war, she was already a celebrated novelist and a fierce advocate for women's rights and education. But when her nation called, she answered not with a pen of fiction, but with a voice that moved mountains. Her words echoed through the front lines, broadcast over makeshift radios and printed in revolutionary newspapers, inspiring a generation to fight not with hate, but with honor. Halide Edib famously addressed a massive crowd in Istanbul's Sultanahmet Square, her powerful speech becoming a rallying cry for national unity. She spoke of a Turkey that belonged to its people, a future built on sovereignty and dignity. She didn't just write about the revolution, she lived it. Joining the nationalist forces in Anatolia, she served on the front lines not as a soldier with a rifle, but with the rank of corporal, then sergeant, documenting the struggle, boosting morale, and acting as a trusted advisor to the movement's leaders. Her legacy is a testament to the idea that the most powerful weapon in any war can be a well-spoken word and an unwavering belief in justice. She proved that patriotism had no gender, and that the fight for freedom was as much a battle of ideas as it was of arms. But while some fought with words, others fought with steel. Transitioning from the intellectual heart of the resistance, we meet a figure of legendary grit and battlefield prowess, Fatma Seher Erden, known to history as Kara Fatma. Her story is one of raw courage and fierce determination. When the war began, she was a widow who had already lost family in previous conflicts. But instead of surrendering to grief, she channeled her pain into an unshakable resolve to defend her homeland. She approached Mustafa Kemal Atatürk himself, asking for a chance to fight. Impressed by her tenacity, he gave her command of a small militia, known as Kara Fatma, or Black Fatma. She led hundreds of fighters, men and women alike, into battle. Her unit became renowned for its guerrilla tactics, its bravery, and its unwavering loyalty to its commander. Kara Fatma was not a symbolic leader. She was a true warrior who fought alongside her troops, leading charges and enduring the same hardships as any other soldier. Her courage was legendary, her leadership unshakable. She became a symbol of defiance, a living embodiment of the Anatolian spirit that refused to be broken. Her story demonstrates that heroism isn't confined to a single mold. It can be found in the scholar's study and on the bloodless, dusty plains of battle. Kara Fatma's name became a whisper of hope among her people and a sound of dread for her enemies. While figures like Halide Edib and Kara Fatma became legends, they were not alone. Behind every victory stood countless women whose names are lost to history but whose contributions were just as vital. They were the invisible army of courage. In the villages of Anatolia, Women organized to produce clothing, food, and supplies for the soldiers at the front. With the men away fighting, they became the farmers, the artisans, and the logisticians of the resistance. They were the mothers who bid farewell to their sons, only to then pick up heavy shells of ammunition, strapping them to their backs and to the backs of their oxen, and trekking for miles over treacherous mountain paths to resupply the front lines. These were the women of the Kana Cholera, the ox cart convoys. Through blistering heat and freezing snow, they formed the lifelines of the army. They cooked in field kitchens, turning meager rations into hearty meals to sustain the troops. They served as nurses in makeshift hospitals, tending to the wounded with compassion and skill, offering comfort in the face of immense suffering. They were couriers, risking their lives to carry secret messages between nationalist cells, their knowledge of the local terrain making them more effective than any formal messenger service. Behind every victory stood countless women who cooked, carried, healed, and built. Their collective effort was the foundation upon which the new republic was built. They didn't seek glory or recognition. They sought a future for their children, a nation they could call their own. The war was won, and the Republic of Turkey was born in 1923. But for many of these heroines, the fight was not over. Many never saw the peace they fought so hard to achieve, their sacrifices becoming the silent, sacred ground upon which the new nation stood. Others returned to their lives, their heroic deeds fading into family stories and local legends never officially recorded. Kara Fatma, for example, lived her final years in poverty, a decorated veteran who asked for nothing in return. Their names live on not in grand monuments, but in the enduring spirit of the nation they helped save. Their legacy is in every girl who receives an education, every woman who casts a vote, and in the unyielding strength of a country that remembers that its freedom was secured by the courage of both its sons and its daughters. The flag that flies over Turkey today is a tribute to them all, the writer, the warrior, and the woman walking the mountain pass with ammunition on her back. As we look back through the sepia-toned lens of history, it is easy to focus on the grand battles and the famous leaders, but the true story of a nation is often found in the quiet moments of courage, in the unsung acts of sacrifice. The women of the Turkish War of Independence remind us that history is not just made by armies, but by people. It is forged in the fire of conviction and built by hands willing to work, to heal, and to fight for a better tomorrow. To the women who fought without recognition, who sacrificed without reward, and who dreamed of a free nation, history remembers you. This is not just history, this is humanity. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you were inspired by the stories of these incredible women, please like this video and subscribe for more historical stories that deserve to be told. Your support helps us continue to shine a light on the unsung heroes of our world. Until next time.